This is a global university of choice, a university of what ifs and what next, an ambitious university of anything is possible, an outstanding university of teaching excellence and applied research, of aiming high and raising the bar. This is a university of big ideas, an applied university of today and for tomorrow, a university of making a difference and making your mark. This is the University of Derby. What will you make of it?
Hello and welcome to the University of Derby's Open Day live stream. I'm Alice.
And I'm Luke, and along with our colleagues, who you'll see later on, we'll be hosting today for those of you who can't join the thousands of guests we're expecting at our Derby campus.
Over the next hour or so, we'll be taking you around our sites, as well as introducing you to students and staff from across the university, who will help explain more about our courses, campus facilities, accommodation, and some of the reasons why we believe you'll love Derby.
We'll be exploring what makes Derby such a fantastic place to live and study. We'll focus on several of our subject areas with some of the people that teach and study them, and we'll share some of the fantastic news that Derby has had recently that recognises just how impactful our university is.
Take a look at today's schedule to see what time to expect the talks and tours, and if you're watching live and have got a question for us, send it in using the QR code that will be appearing on the right for our Q&A session at the end.
First though, here's a quick introduction to what you've got to look forward to as a University of Derby student.
Welcome back to our Open Day live stream here at the University of Derby. Our first guest today is someone whose role helped shape the student experience here at Derby, Professor Keith Macleay, Provost for Learning and Teaching. Hi Keith.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So what are the sorts of things that students should be looking at when they're choosing a university?
Well, it's really important that the students come and visit the university that they're seeking to join, have a look around the facilities, but most importantly, inform themselves about the quality of the learning and teaching and the degree programmes for which they wish to join. So, for example, here at the University of Derby, in the government's recent assessment of learning and teaching across all universities nationwide, the University of Derby was rated gold for its learning and teaching and student experience. And that's the sort of marker that the students should be thinking about. Equally, there are a number of league tables which assess the performance of universities. So, for example, the University of Derby is in the top 20 for student experience and teaching quality in recent league tables published by the Complete University Guide and the Times and Sunday Times. It's these markers, alongside the visit to campus and the discussions with the academics, that students should be using to inform their decision to come to university.
And we talk a lot about the University of Derby being an applied university. What does this mean and how does it benefit our students?
Well, that's right, Alice. I mean, the University of Derby is, as you say, an applied university of today and for tomorrow, and it's a university which prides itself in being engaged with industry. And what that means in reality is that each curricula, as part of the degree programmes, will have opportunities for students to engage with industries, to undertake placements, whether that's a shorter term placement or a longer term whole year placement. It's the opportunity also for the students to be engaged in what we call live briefs. So industries will offer up problems that they require solutions to, and our students will work on that as part of their assessment process. And when we talk about industry, we're not just talking about what might be thought of as the old manufacturing industries. It's a very wide definition. We're talking about the public service industries, we're talking about education, we're talking about businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, but also the global businesses such as Rolls-Royce, for which the University of Derby works at the Nuclear Skills Academy, where we have 200 apprentices places each year working with Rolls-Royce in the nuclear skills industry.
It's fantastic. And what about research? Is Derby a research university, and what opportunities are there for undergrad students to get involved in that?
Absolutely. The University of Derby is heavily engaged in research. It has to be. You can't be a university without having the research side of the coin and the learning and teaching side of the coin, because the research, the cutting edge knowledge, drives the degree programs. So here at the University of Derby, we have 6 research themes, academic themes, for which we have specialisms in. A good example of that is in our coral reef and eco diversity research, in which you may have seen, or visitors may have seen, our turtle that is quite prominent, a part of our brand, and that's because our scientists are working and regrowing coral reefs across the world, and that's really important because we're only one of a very few number of universities that are engaged in that type of research. In terms of plugging our students into our research, there are a number of different ways. As I've said, the research drives the curricula, so they are accessing it through that. But most importantly, annually we run what's called our Undergraduate Research Scholarship Scheme, in which undergraduate students can apply to become part of a live research project that our academics are running, and they get funded to undertake that research and be part of the project over a period of time, culminating in an output for that research, which they can obviously put on their CV, and they will present at a conference once that research project ends. So there's a number of points of connection, routes of entry for our students into the research process, which all our academics are undertaking.
Fantastic. Now, I've seen around the place we have TEF Gold all over now. What does this mean? Why is it important? And what other recognitions the university had this year?
Well, as I mentioned at the outset, the government ran an assessment exercise of teaching and learning at universities just these past few months. Now, there were 2 categories to that assessment of the learning and teaching at universities. One was the student experience, so that is the experience that the students get while at university on their degree programs, and just the general academic experience that they have. The second element is student outcomes, and that is how well the university prepares them to get a graduate job once they leave the university. It's how well that they progress in year, and it's how successful they are in their degree classification. So that assessment exercise ran over the past few months, and I'm delighted that the University of Derby was rated TEF Gold, which is the highest accolade for that assessment of the learning and teaching at university. We're only one of 2 universities in the East Midlands to achieve TEF Gold, and we're within the top 20% in the country. So it's a real marker of the quality of the education here at the University of Derby. Similarly, we've had successes in the league tables. I mentioned before we're top 20% for teaching quality and the student experience, and in 2 of the league tables, the Complete University Guide and the Times and the Sunday Times. So the University of Derby, on each of these markers of performance, is really well up there and performing very strongly, and in particular the TEF Gold is such an important marker of the quality of the education here at the University of Derby.
That's fantastic, Keith. Thank you very much. Now, I know you're a busy man. You've got some welcome talks to do, so
Yes.
I'll let you go now. But
Thank you very
for
much.
taking
My
the time to
pleasure.
talk to
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks. Now, it's not just life on campus you've got to look forward to as a student. There's plenty of things you can get up to in the city, whatever your interests are.
Welcome back to the University of Derby Open Day livestream. So, student life at the university is supported by your Union of Students, and we're now joined by Holly Lloyd, Vice President, Education, for this year to tell us more. Holly, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, Holly, just to start off with, what does your role make happen at the university?
Okay, so I am Vice President Education, so I see all the education and academic. I also look at student voice, and I also enable that student voice to go higher and, yeah, promote the students that way.
Nice, fantastic. And just kind of zooming back out from that, just for anyone who doesn't really know, how broad is the Union of Students, and where may students encounter it?
Perfect. So not many students realise that when they enrol at university, they also get put into our union and they have access to everything that we offer. So we offer stuff from anything to academic representation, to student voice, and all the way through to those sports societies and student-led services.
Okay.
And we offer a lot of stuff outside of the university, so we hold events and fairs as well.
Excellent. So you've kind of mentioned that already, you kind of touched upon it. So societies can mean something that students can get involved with outside of the university, for example. So what kind of things are available for students to get involved in?
So our societies offer that space where individuals can get together, learn new hobbies, continue their hobbies that they currently have. We offer them spaces where they can meet up continuously and just get out of your comfort zone, get out there, meet new people and get involved.
Excellent. So, of course, we have a lot of sports teams within the union. Is this for just competitive types, or is this more accessible?
No, it's accessible to everybody of every ability. You don't have to be an athlete to join our sports. Talking personally myself, I joined women's rugby, and that was just as a social member, and I just got that social element. But yeah, we do offer it everybody, and we encourage them. We also have our whole sports and our Just Play, which are still competitive but don't have the book sport element of every Wednesday. It's more of a chilled and relaxed competitive side to sport.
Nice, very nice. And it's maybe quite obvious, but what would you say you learned joining a society yourself?
I learned to put myself out there. It's obviously nerve-wracking being at university as it is, and then joining something that you've not necessarily done outside of university. But it's also a great way to introduce yourself to new people, meet wonderful friends, learn new skills, hobbies, and it is a great way to boost that university experience.
I bet, nice. And would you describe Derby as a university city?
I would definitely, yeah. We've obviously got our campuses dotted in and around our city centre, as well as our halls are very centre-based. We obviously have great transport from the university all in and around Derby city. Yeah, I would. It's a great place. We've obviously got a nice nightlife as well. It's a good little bonus for the week and on weekends. So, yeah.
Nice. There's a lot of things to do.
Oh, plenty of stuff to do. Yeah, definitely.
Very nice. And for all of these functions, from academic representation and student voice to sports societies, how do students get involved when they're there? Yeah,
so obviously, like previously mentioned, every student can access anything that the union offers. We also hold throughout the years our freshers fairs during the beginning in September, and then we do them again in the new year, where we have all of our sports societies, student-led services there just to offer what they can provide students. We also do a lot of give it a goes. So they're just little training sessions which students can come along to and just have a bit of a taster, see if they want to try anything new. The same with our societies. They hold events that anybody and everybody can come and get involved in.
Fantastic. Okay, Holly, those are all the questions I have for you.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for your time. You explained everything perfectly. We've now got a video for you now, and then we'll be right back.
We're now joined by Helen Mercado, Head of Admissions at the university. Welcome back, Helen.
Thank you.
Helen, so for the benefit of people who weren't with us last time, What is the purpose of admissions at the university?
So we receive all of the applications across the university for our undergraduate and postgraduate provision, both home and international students. We collect all of those applications, come through into my team, and we process the applications. So we have delegated authority from the rest of the university to look at each application as it comes in and process it against the entry criteria for each of those courses.
So when we spoke to you last month, we were rapidly heading towards that UCAS deadline. So it's getting to that time now where people are starting to get those responses back, as you've said. What should people do about that? Should they respond immediately? Is it best to sit tight and wait till they've all come in? What should people be doing at this stage?
I think it very much depends on if they've got their heart set on a specific course and institution. If they have, then it might be the first offer that drops on the mat that's the one that they accept. I would probably recommend they wait for all of their different offers because they might be different, and it just gives them the opportunity to reflect a little bit, perhaps go back to some of that research they might have done in the first instance. Maybe even visit institutions again if they get the opportunity to do that, to just make sure that the offers that they're accepting are the right ones for them. So they will be able to have a firm and insurance choice if they've applied through UCAS. And it's just making sure that actually that is the right choice when they make that decision. So it will vary by person, I think, but I would definitely recommend waiting till all of those offers are in. Yep.
And is it always just a yes or a no? Are there any other options people might be given?
So there are definitely lots of different options. We do try very hard to give people an offer onto their first course choice. Sometimes we might have to make an alternative offer, say particularly for the selecting courses where there are just limit of numbers how many people we can actually take on those courses. We do try and, like I say, give people their first choice course if they can, even if that's an aspirational offer. And then what we might do later down the line, if they aren't successful meeting the entry criteria, then we might offer them that alternative course at confirmation when they get the results.
So for any students who might have some particular support or wellbeing needs, at what stage in the process should they make that known?
So I would say definitely early as possible in the process. We don't actually take any of that into consideration when we're processing, but if people do acknowledge that in their application, then it is picked up by our wellbeing team, and it just means that we're able to sort of communicate with them and assess any needs that they might have in advance of them joining the university. It's just to make sure we can provide the support that they actually need to get here.
Yeah. So better to mention it early than wait till the last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
And if a student finds themselves a bit stuck somewhere in the application process, what's the best way of getting that resolved?
So the best way to do that is just to get in touch with us in admissions. I have a specific inquiry team that are always there, happy to help, whether it's by email or by phone. So please, just reach out, get in touch. There's no stupid questions. We're always happy to help.
Thanks, Anna. It's quite a complicated process, I think, for both students and universities, so that's very good of you to help us decipher all that and make it easy for people. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Let's head to a video now, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Hi, my name is Shan.
Ndewono, aham bu Lawrence Ndupu.
सलाम मेरा नाम मोहम्मद अली है
Bună, numele meu este Cristina. Ni hao, 我是李乐.
Servus, mein Name ist Matthias.
Bună, numele meu este Ioana.
Hi, my name is Karen.
Cześć, mam na imię Natalia.
I came here, I didn't know anyone, no friends, didn't know what to expect.
Like the first day I was here, I sat down in the classroom and I was like, what did I get myself into? I don't understand nothing this man is saying. The accents, they all sound like Harry Potter.
I was worrying about being by myself.
I was just worried about living. I mean, just like the cost of living.
And how people will welcome me, how they will react.
But here in Derby, people are so friendly. They made us feel settled in very, very fast.
After 3 years of living here, I feel like Derby is kind of like my second home. It feels like they are just from my country or I'm from here.
It's a very, very friendly and very personal atmosphere. It's like a big family.
would recommend the University of Derby because it's so easy to connect with people, and it's so easy to get the support, to get the opportunities, and all you have to do is just want.
When you live in your home, you live in your parents, you really can learn how to face the world, and you really to learn how to become more independent, becoming more strong.
There's a team of professionals here who will welcome you. They will make you feel like you're in second home. So don't worry, just pack your bags and make a decision, and you will enjoy it.
Where you'll live is a big factor to consider ahead of coming to university. Here at Derby, we want you to feel confident about whichever accommodation you choose. To help, we're going to hear from Steve Ward, who is our Head of Accommodation Services. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
So at Derby, we're very proud of our halls offering. Can you share some of the key awards we've received recently that illustrate where we're particularly succeeding in supporting our students?
Yeah, of course. So we participate in the Global Student Living Index, which is a national survey that is lots of universities and private accommodation providers participate in. They ask a range of questions for students, asking them their satisfaction with all elements of the hall service. So we are proud that in the last 2 years we have been voted the best university housing through those awards. So what that means is that our students here in Derby have voted the overall service that they receive from us in halls better than any other accommodation provider in the country, which is a fantastic sort of accolade for our services. In addition to that, we've won Best Customer Service through those awards, Best Student Wellbeing, and we currently hold the award for Best Environmental Management for the way that we approach environmental issues. So yeah, those awards are real sort of testament to the service that we provide here.
Fantastic. And a lot of people will have applied for their place at university now and may have had an offer already. What are the next steps for them in terms of applying for their accommodation?
So we allocate halls on a first come, first served basis. So we always advise people that once they've got their offer from the university, that they make their application to halls as soon as possible. All students need to do to secure accommodation at that point is make a £50 deposit. That is refunded if they find that they're not coming to university come September. They will get that money back. It's just to secure the room at that point. So we do say to people, don't delay in doing that. Do that at your earliest opportunity. You make your application through the university's website. You go into there and you choose your top 3 halls in order of preference, and we will always allocate you as high up that preference list as possible. And the earlier on in the cycle that you do that, the best chance you've got of getting your first choice accommodation.
And for anybody who's really working to a tight budget, how should they approach searching for the best hall of residence for them?
So we do offer budget accommodation. So we have our hall, Princess Alice Court, which has had its price frozen for 4 years now. So that is the best university room for students that are working to a tight budget. But we have a range of rooms from that point up to our premium en-suites. And we do think that we've got an offer that's available to suit everybody's budget. If you are working to a budget, what we'd recommend that you do is that you look at Princess Alice Court through our website. You can also come down to one of the university open days and we will sort of give you access to go and view that room.
And for anybody who can't get to campus to have a look at our halls, whether that's Princess Alice or any of the others, what's the next best option for them to find out more?
So all of the halls have their own individual pages on the university's website, and on each of those pages you'll find a range of photos for the rooms and the communal areas, and for each of the room types you'll find 360-degree tours, so you're able to go in as if you were in that room and sort of pan round and see that room.
Clever stuff. And are there any costs that people need to be aware of in terms of living in halls? Is there anything else they should be budgeting for apart from that headline cost for their room?
No, it's the headline cost. So the headline cost covers all bills, so there's no hidden charges there. We take rent payments 3 times a year in each of the terms after the student finances hit, and that's the only payment you will need to make to us in halls. And the contracts are designed around the academic year, so they don't run the entirety of the year. They're just around your academic programme.
Right. And there's another big benefit to living in halls, which is our Residence Life programme. What is this and what does it involve?
So the Residence Life programme is an exclusive events programme just for Hall students. The idea is that it helps students acclimatise to university life and meet people going through similar experiences of them. That is... we run a range of events there, from local events right through to sort of national events, taking students to Harry Potter World. We take students to trampoline parks, right down to sort of quizzes and events, open mic nights in common rooms. And we also try to provide lifestyle events, teaching people to cook if if that's not something they've done prior to coming to university.
And for anybody who's thinking of, or weighing up the difference between being in halls versus being in private accommodation, what would you advise to them?
So we would always advise that people come to university-owned accommodation. It is the best place to go, where you will meet a number of people going through that same experience as you. We are university-owned accommodation. We are a department of the university, so that comes with good connections to the welfare and the wellbeing teams across the university. So we do have the students' interest at heart, and we pride ourselves on the pastoral support that we provide. We think that's a strong reason why we get the awards that we get nationally. So it is the best supported environment for students moving to Derby.
That's great. Thank you very much, Steve, for telling us all about it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this video.
The University of Derby makes me feel empowered. They empowered me to break barriers and smash stereotypes.
Diverse. I feel like I'm part of a bigger community. And what I've learnt about my abilities and potential goes well beyond my degree.
Examine. A transition that felt challenging to start, but led to excitement, built on my character and independence.
Passionate. A process of growth filled with fun, career opportunities, and beautiful people. A mixture of everything.
Independence. Derby has given me confidence and self-direction, allowing me to experience independence for the very first time.
Awakened to a world full of possibilities. Nothing is stopping us now.
Hello and welcome back to our Open Day live stream. You may know already that Derby is committed to ensuring graduate careers, and one of the ways we do that is through offering opportunities for our students. I'm now joined by 2 of our recent graduates, Olivia Wilkinson and Arvin Johal, who are both at the start of a 2-year graduate scheme. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So Liv, what did you study and why?
So I studied marketing, PR and advertising when I started. I just wanted a creative career. I didn't know what pathway I wanted to start or go into, but I really liked the sound of marketing at Derby, and they offered a course that was allowed for that creativity with like applied case studies, live briefs, so we were able to go out into the field and get hands-on practice, and that's why I studied it here.
And Arvin, what did you study and what led you into that subject?
So I studied a Bachelor of Arts and Business Management degree. Previously to going to university, at college I studied a BTEC in Business Management, and I really thoroughly enjoyed kind of the different aspects associated with business management really, and learning about, the different components that make up a business essentially, from HR to accounting and finance to marketing. So yeah, really enjoyed it at that level, and I just wanted to kind of specialise and kind of keep my options open in regards to what I want to do in the future, which has led me on to, working on this graduate scheme now and kind of working and narrowing down in that marketing field really.
And you're both first-class graduates, which is a really impressive result. What were your experiences like of being a student, Arvin?
So my experience was, I had a very positive experience. I feel like due to the nature of the college work I used to do, a lot of it kind of transferred onto university. So I did a lot of assignment work, a lot of report writing as well. So a lot of the assignments that I did were kind of very similar in nature in regards to university level as well. So that kind of gave me a kind of teaser as such, really, in terms of what it's like to study at university. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. My experience was amazing, both on an academic sense and a non-academic sense as well. So academically, you know, the support that I received was absolutely amazing. We had something called a personal academic tutor as well, which I used very thoroughly and assisted me throughout, you know, my whole time at university, really. And then non-academically as well, getting involved in different societies, different sports clubs, and, you know, just getting out there and, you know, becoming a student ambassador, a content creator, for example, marketing representative. So all these fingers in different pies kind of, you know, honed my experience at the University of Derby, really.
And Liv, tell us about your experience of being a student at Derby.
Yeah, likewise. My experience was great. The amount of opportunities that we were given was amazing, from careers, the societies. I joined the Women's Football Club, which was brilliant. I also had opportunity to join the Student Employment Agency as a social media assistant, mentioning like my creative aspirations. I also joined the Driven scheme, which was a marketing internship. So I was able to not just get the marketing study from my degree, but also that application into the real world experience.
So lots of things that you were involved in there. How did you find balancing that with your studies? Was that easy to do?
Yeah, so it was really great. So at the university, they were really good at helping you manage that work-life balance. I was able to adjust my working hours as a social media assistant, and during the Driven scheme, when I was a marketing intern, then went on to marketing assistant, they helped me manage my hours around my study, so I was able to adjust.
Thanks. And Arvin, you were obviously involved in loads of things as well. Did you find it tough trying to keep all those balls in the air while studying, while trying to do all this enrichment work?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I used to work part-time as well at the hospital, the NHS. And I was a special constable as well for 2 years. So kind of balancing that was really, really hard alongside my studies as well. But yeah, I just kind of committed to, you know, my career really as such, and making sure that I honed my skills and my experiences to, you know, my future and what I wanted to do. So yeah, it was difficult, but you know, I made it work alongside my studies as well. And like Liv said, you know, the academics were really, really supportive as well, and they kind of assisted where they could as well, and, you know, helped where possible, really. So yeah, it was hard, but, you know, we managed, and here I am today. So yeah, really good.
Great. And you're both a couple of months into the graduate scheme within the Marketing External Relations Department. What have you learned so far?
Yeah, so far the amount of opportunities and the amount of experiences that I've dealt with is amazing. So I've had so many opportunities to work in loads of different areas within marketing. I'm just learning, each day I'm learning new things, which is absolutely brilliant. So by the end of these 2 years, I can't imagine how much I'll have progressed already.
And same for you, Arvin. How have you found it all?
Yeah, it's been amazing so far. I've learned so many different things that I, you know, weren't even familiar with before. From, you know, SEO, CRM systems, and, you know, a lot of different areas within marketing. Yeah, I won't bore you with it because there's a lot. But yeah, a lot of aspects in relation to marketing that I've kind of learned and developed, and, you know, really eager to kind of move forward with as well. And especially working with the events team at the university as well is something that I wanted to really do. Not necessarily in relation to marketing as such, but just something that I wanted to kind of get that experience. And it's great that the graduate scheme allows me to kind of explore different areas within the university as part of marketing as well. So yeah.
And what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's thinking of becoming a student at Derby?
Best piece of advice would just be seize every opportunity during your time as a student. Make sure you do your kind of research, visit an open day to ensure that you get the best quality of information and knowledge before actually going to university. The kind of worst thing that you can do is just apply to a university just for the sake of it, or just because, you know, your friends are going there. So don't kind of don't follow the crowd as such. Just, you know, be your own individual, and, you know, make sure that you know, you're on your own path and not just tagging along someone else's journey. So yeah, make sure you do enough research into the university that you're potentially thinking of applying to.
Anything to add to that, Liz?
No, honestly, I just second what Arvin has just said. So take every single opportunity that you can. You don't know where it might lead you. So I started as a communications ambassador. From that, I was able to get like the social media assistant role. And then with Driven scheme and everything, it's just all led up to the position that I'm in now. So just take every opportunity you can, and you don't know where it will lead you.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much both for joining me here today. We've got a video to show you now, and then we'll be right back with more Open Day live stream. Hi, Joe. So you're not just a member of staff at Derby, you're also mum to an 18-year-old son.
Yes.
What have you discovered about the process of applying to university?
I've actually found it really enjoyable. It's been quite an emotional time, quite a mixture of emotions, but on the whole it's very exciting. I feel very proud and excited about what his future holds. I'm also a bit anxious and a bit apprehensive, if I'm being honest. You know, it is a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but it's been very enjoyable.
So, as you said, it can be quite a daunting experience for both parents and children.
Yeah.
And obviously you work in a university, so you think you should know it all, but is there anything that you've been surprised by, any advice that you can give to other parents that people might not know about?
Yeah, it is worth taking the time to do plenty of research, actually. Obviously, you know, your son or daughter will know what course they want to do, but there's so much more to a choice of university than just that. So it's important to take some time to do some research. There's loads of information online. The UCAS website's really helpful. There's lots of other websites like the Complete University Guide or What Uni. And also there's some Facebook groups. They've been really useful over the last few months with other parents talking about their experiences and maybe asking questions that I hadn't thought of yet. So that's been a good source of information.
And of course, as we're here today, open days are a brilliant way of finding out what universities are like. How have you and your son approached this part of the process?
We narrowed down a number of universities that he was interested in, and then we had a look at when their open days were and see what fits in really with the rest of other things that's going on. Obviously, there's football matches and all sorts to fit around. And then sort of decided whether we were going to get the train, decided whether we were going to drive, looked at what else we could do in the city on those days. Again, it's just been a really enjoyable experience. Some quality time together and having a good look round. Maybe as a parent, you ask the questions that you know your son or daughter wants to ask, but they're too shy to do so or haven't got round to it. It's been really interesting. It's a good way to see different cities as well.
Yeah. And how involved do you think parents should be in the application process?
I think you have to find the right balance. It's quite easy to take over. And, you've really got to find that balance of letting them do the legwork, but also being there as a support and as a guidance. It's very much, it's got to be their decision at the end of the day. It's their choice, not yours. But I think as much support as you can give them to sort of gently nudge them along that journey is really important.
And is there anything that you feel students should be asking their parents for particular help with or advice on?
I think, it's just good to keep that conversation going. Your parent may have been to university themselves. I went to university. Ask your parents about what it was that they were looking for university. Ask them about the city. Have they ever been to that city before? What's it like? And ask them about their career experience as well. How did you get to do what you're doing now? This kind of experience prompts those kinds of conversations, which is really nice. So pick our brains. We were young once. we have been on this journey ourselves, or some of us have. So, use us as a source of information and resource.
Yep. That's some really good advice there, Jo. Thank you very much, and good luck to you and your son for the rest of the process.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's head to a video now, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Research is changing the way we see and understand things. At Derby, you will be taught by leading researchers. Their groundbreaking findings not only have real-world impact, but inform your curriculum, giving you the most up-to-date teaching in your subject area. There are so many opportunities to get involved in research, such as attending conferences, being part of a research experiment, or conducting your own research project. The skills and knowledge you gain through experience and research will allow you to shine and stand out in job interviews. We are at the forefront of discoveries. Quite simply, research never stands still, and neither does the University of Derby.
Welcome to T-Block, one of our facilities here at the University of Derby for our College of Science and Engineering. I'm joined now by Professor Chris Bussell, who's Pro-Vice-Chancellor Dean of the College. Hi Chris, and welcome. Thanks for being here today. Can you start by introducing some of the programmes and the courses that are available in your college?
Yeah, within the College of Science and Engineering, we cover a whole range of courses from undergraduate, postgraduate taught, and also apprentices. And they span across 4 key academic schools. So we have the School of Science, we have a School of Sport and Exercise Science, a School of Computing, and also a School of Engineering. And we've got a whole range of courses that students can study that cover from mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, all the way through to sports science and sports therapy, as well as into ecology and biology and zoology, as well as aspects in terms of computer science. There's a whole range of STEM-based subject areas that we cover within the college.
That sounds really exciting. And why would students want to decide to come to the University of Derby? What makes us stand out?
Key focus for us, and particularly within the College of Science and Engineering, is around our applied studies and our applied focus. So I think it's really important that we look at our programmes in terms of having the knowledge and understanding and the skills, qualities and attributes that an employee would look for from a graduate. But the students can actually put it into practice. A lot of our approaches to learning, a lot of our approaches to our courses are around the application of theory into practice. And a key part for me is what I refer to as curiosity applied, and how you put that real interest and insight you have for your course into practical sessions like you do here within the labs or within our workshops or tutorial sessions, and actually put that knowledge into practice. So a key part for me is the way that we approach our teaching, particularly in terms of that application of theory to practice.
That sounds great. And you just touched upon it there. We're in one of our labs here at the university. What other facilities can students experience when they come here and study in the College of Science and Engineering?
So within the college, we work across 2 sites. So we work across here at the Kelliston Road site, but also in terms of our Markeaton site where we have our STEM building. So for example, we have our labs here that you can see that we use for our biology and zoology programmes. We've also got facilities for our sport and exercise science provision, so whether that's the human performance unit, and we bring external teams in and athletes in to do some applied testing, and the students are getting involved with that as part of their course and also part of their extracurricular. We've got clinical exercise science labs as well, which again the sports students will utilise, and then a crossover in our Markeaton Street site. We have a whole range of workshops, whether that's a motorsport workshop for working with automotive engineering, whereas working across our iHub down at Infinity Park for our nuclear skills apprenticeship work that's taking place, or even working with colleagues in terms of Longsdale House, where we do a lot of rail research as well. So there's a whole raft of facilities that we utilise. And then again, over in Markeaton Street, we have a huge amount of computing facilities for our computer science programmes, whether that's in cybersecurity or networking, or whether it's in artificial intelligence. And also that's a key part of our programmes in terms of the work we're going forward. So how we bring these new approaches in terms of our practical work. So the key part for us is to make sure that all our facilities are accessible for students. So you'll come and see us on an open day or during applicant days and come and see the facilities, or experience them through our online streams and how we see that within our 3D60 tours. And the way in which students can then access those facilities is key for me. So in terms of the college, is making sure that students do have access to the facilities, so anything that people see they can use and they can incorporate. So we've set up, for example, in Markeaton Street, a place called the Makerspace, which is open to students to come and try and apply their knowledge and understanding into different settings and different facilities. So the key thing is to make sure that they are accessible to all.
Fantastic. Lots going on there in terms of the teaching and learning. And aside from that, research is obviously a key part of your college. We've got academics who are taking part in research, conducting things that are really sort of improving the lives of people and saving our planet. So can you just talk to me about some of that research and what the impact of that is on the greater society and world?
Yeah, I mean, a key thing for universities for me is about our thought leadership and knowledge capital, and therefore it's about our understanding of the world in which we live and how we have a positive impact on that. And in terms of our courses, it's using that first-hand research, experimental, empirical-based evidence in terms of ensuring that our courses and curriculum are current and relevant, and therefore have that key knowledge base. So it's using cutting-edge technologies, future thinking in terms of understanding of different key issues that affect the world and society. So for some of the work that's taking place within the college, we do a huge amount of work in terms of data science. So we look at the way in which the information is gathered, how you utilize it, how you do visualization of it, how you look at different mathematical modeling in terms of looking again about AI and algorithms and machine learning. So that's a key part to our Data Science Research Centre. Working in the academic themes around biomedical and clinical sciences, it's looking at key disease states in terms of what ill health somebody might have and how can you take a proactive and interventionist approach to it to understand the pathology of conditions, and recognising the experience of working with the patient and the patient groups in particular, and applying new technologies to understand those disease states. So, for example, Elizabeth Marsh is doing a lot of work in HPV vaccines and understanding the disease states of head and neck cancers and how to start working in different arenas to reduce the incidence rates, but also improve diagnostics and therefore improving treatment approaches. So there's some of the work that takes place in the biomedical and clinical sciences theme. And then we've also got a lot of work taking place in nature-based regeneration and how you look at sustainability from an environmental perspective. So Mike Sweet, for example, is doing a huge amount of work looking at coral reef restoration and how you look at the way in which the corals can be respawned and the way they can be re-established. What does that mean for marine ecosystems, and what does that mean in terms of the economies that work around those coastal regions? So that's a really important part in terms of obviously climate change and how we reduce the mitigating effects of the Anthropocene impact on the way in which climate's been shifting and changing. So a lot of the research that we're doing here again informs our curriculum. We make sure there are opportunities for schemes such as the URSS, which is the Undergraduate Research Scholarship Scheme, where students can work with our researchers in the labs, first-hand experimental research work that's taking place, and they can be part of that research group in terms of the papers or the conferences they're attending to publish that work, so therefore graduates can get involved with research in the first-hand experience. So it's a really important part of what we do. We've got groups like Mark Fahey and some of his work with long COVID that's looking at the effect in terms of respiratory physiology and looking at the incidence of obviously the recent pandemic in terms of the life course of individuals, but also how you might use some of that understanding to prevent issues happening again, or likewise in terms of how athletes might be responding to exercise, where obviously respiration and airflow is a really important part of it. So how these different conditions can affect the way in which people perform. So within the college, research is a really key part of what we do. We need to make sure that we're at the forefront of what we're doing in terms of our subject areas. We need to make sure that's informing our curriculum, and there are opportunities for our students to get involved with that research, I say through the RSS scheme or through their independent project studies, or just being interested in the research that people are publishing and getting involved with the different discourses that we have through our professorial groups, for example, in terms of seminars and discussions that we have within the college about research that's taking place.
Fantastic. A lot of really great work that's happening in your college, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us.
Courses laid out. I think for anyone who's interested in forensics, even if they didn't necessarily do a forensic-based subject before they come onto university, you kind of get a taster of so many different subjects ranging from chemistry to biology to anthropology, the study of bones, entomology, study of insects. So you get such a big range and kind of a taster of so many different things for you to then kind of progress into second year, where you get to choose different modules and choose what you're most interested in, and then when you go into third year to then work on your independent project.
Goodness. Okay, so just off of the back of that, sorry, what kind of topics are covered on the course?
So it changes from year to year, but the modules that I used to do ranged from crime scene analysis or crime scene investigation.
Yes.
We also had analytical chemistry, we had forensic chemistry, we had molecular biology. So you get, like I said, mentioned, a taster of basically everything for you to then decide what you want to specialize in.
My goodness. Okay. And so you just completed your undergraduate course.
I have.
And that was in forensic science.
It was.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And whilst you were on that course,
Yeah.
were there any kind of specialist facilities that you got to learn in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the specialist facility is one of the main reasons why I came to this university. So I came here for an open day myself, and I got to see everything that the university has got to offer. So the main one, I think that the biggest thing that we've got an entire house that the university decided to buy for us specifically. Very nice of them. It's a house. They've all the rooms, they look like normal rooms, but they get to stage crimes in there, and we have to go full white suits, face masks, shoe covers, exactly what you see on CSI TV. And then you'll go in there, they will explain to you what's happened, different types of crimes. So it can range from anything from a break-in to an assault to even a drug-related crime. Yes. And then you'll have to go and kind of, pretend, I guess. I think the best part is even if you mess up, it's okay. There's microphones in each room to tell you, maybe you shouldn't be touching that, you know, so it's a lot more relaxed than if you had it in real life. But that's just one of the facilities. We also have wet rooms, wet chemistry rooms, where you get to go and look at different chemical analysis, anything from makeup analysis. So you can get to look at like different brands and like the different components of that makeup. That is something that we look at. Anything from soil trace analysis. If you stepped on some soil at some point, we could probably tell where you were. Not to, you know. I'm getting slightly worried, yeah. No, that's fine. And we also have biology room, specialist biology rooms with specialist instruments in them. We have a court room. So one of the main things about forensic science is presenting your evidence in court. As scary as it sounds, it's only a mock court. So again, it's all practice. But no, that's one of the big facilities that we've got on our campus called One Ferry Gate Square. And then we've got an entomology room, an insect room, basically. So if you're not a fan of insects, maybe you shouldn't.
I'll stay clear.
Yeah, but that again, that's just one of the many, many different specialist facilities that we've got at the university.
Oh my goodness, so quite a few.
Quite a few. That I didn't even mention all of them. But.
Wow, okay, that's quite impressive. Thank you. So what can students on your course typically kind of expect to graduate with?
So the different skills you could get, there's so many different transferable skills. I mean, they make you within your course, you'll have group projects where you get to learn how to, team working skills, your leadership skills, presentation skills. Some modules would require you to kind of present a presentation, a poster, a PowerPoint. It also gets you thinking into more a research-based mindset, looking at different literature, to then present these presentations, to then create these posters. So not just having, not just being taught how to use these different specialist equipment, but it's also having these specialist skills of, how to network with colleagues. They teach you all of that, especially our academics. They treat us like colleagues. They don't treat you like students.
Yes.
If you ever need anything, they're just an email away, and they can kind of get you used to that mindset of networking as well. But there's so many different skills as well. Critical thinking skills is a big one that we've learned here at the university.
Nice. My goodness. I can imagine it's much more conducive to good work and development if you've got that much of a better relationship with you lecturers.
Absolutely,
that's fantastic.
100%.
And will students on your course, do they typically get to do placements? And if so, like where, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so the way our placement work, it's after your second year, before your third year. So you decide to do that. You don't have to go for it if you don't want to. I think one of the biggest points that we like to push across is that we do have links with so many different facilities, I guess.
Yeah.
One of the biggest partnerships that we've got is with MSU, so that's the East Midlands Specialist Operational Unit. It's a police force. And then we will give you those contacts. We cannot guarantee you a placement, but we will give you the contacts for you to then go out for an interview, show them your skills, show them your CV. We've got so many different facilities at the university to help you with this kind of things, with interview skills, with CV making skills.
Yes.
That's just not even relating to the course, just the university in general. But that's one of them. So MSU is one of them, is where you get to go. My friend just came back from placement, and he got to look at the analysis of kind of data analysis. So he was looking at CCTV cameras. He wasn't allowed to tell me much, obviously, makes sense, working with the police. But that's just one of the placements. I had another friend, again, speaking of the networking with the academics. So one of our academics has a close link with one of the museums in, I want to say, Nottingham.
Okay.
And they managed to get one of my friends a placement over there because her interest is in anthropology, bones. And she managed to get a placement there, and she got to work with bones, basically. She got to organize them, label them, and everything else an anthropologist gets to do. So that's just one of the biggest advantages of having such a good relationship, an academic and staff, student relationship.
Absolutely. So you've kind of like touched on my next question, which is fantastic. So yeah, academics kind of, they have those kind of links to different research and industries, and stuff like that?
Absolutely. In our course, genuinely, so one of the most impressive things about our course is the range of these skills and links that our academics have. They're so diverse in what they're specialized in. So, for example, some of our academics are specialized in toxicology. Some of them are specialized in crime scene analysis. We've got staff from all across the world as well. For example, one of our academics come all the way from Brazil, and she's managed to get students a, I want to say 2-week placement at Brazil at their forensic investigation workplace.
Yes.
It's a 2-week placement over there. She managed to get that because she's got links.
Wow. I
mentioned the link with the museum. There's links with different universities with their postgraduate courses. We've got links with different pharmaceutical places. Everyone's specialized in their own area, and genuinely all you need to do is go up to them and ask them about their different links, and they're more than happy to let you know what they are.
Wow.
They're more than happy to get you these links. That's what they want. They want you to go out in the real world. They want you to go and kind of learn what you did at university and then apply it to the real world. It makes the university look good. It makes them look good. It makes us look good. So why wouldn't they want that?
My goodness, that's incredible. And yeah, get to travel as well, which is a massive bonus. That's wow, goodness. So can students also, can they get involved with research projects also?
Yeah, so in your second year, you're required to do a 30-hour work placement.
Yep.
And within that, they offer staff internship. And I actually managed to get my hands on one of them.
Very nice.
It was with one of our academics who specializes in entomology, which is the study of bugs, basically. And her research involved looking at blowflies and their different reproductive rates in different seasons. And she had a freezer filled with flies, and my job was to go in and pin them.
Pin them?
Pin them.
Can you elaborate slightly more?
So on styrofoam, just pieces of styrofoam, pin them with pins. And then from that, we then got to analyze them. And then, I mean, it's an amazing subject, entomology. We get to you get to look at an estimated time of death using flies. So it is a really important part of forensics. But thanks to the staff internship, I managed to grab all those skills without even having to, try different contacting different places. It was right there, right in front of me, and I managed to do it.
That's rather impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, my goodness. So what would you say, of course you're finished now, so what would you say were the highlights of your undergraduate career?
I think it's personal development. I already touched on transferable skills that you get, but even what I'm doing right now with you, kind of this whole communication, this whole presentation skills, public speaking skills, all these transferable skills that I got from my course have very much helped me. It's just this personal development if you look at the development that I've made from first year all the way now to now being able to do my postgraduate degree, it definitely builds on self-confidence. It kind of teaches you, because the staff, the academic know that once you come into this course, you've never done this type of analysis before. You've never, when was the last time you analyzed blood splatter? It's not.
Yesterday.
Exactly. So it's it's not as common as some other courses might be.
Yeah.
So because of this, they're so aware that all of us are kind of, there's this whole new thing, but they're so focused on building this personal development for you to then exit the university, to then be confident in yourself and in your skills. A lot of our practical sessions are mainly just to teach you how to use these instruments. And they're so happy for you to then come back. If you ever do get a job interview and you need to kind of a refresher, they've told us multiple times, just give us an email and we're more than happy to come and show you how things work again.
Yes.
But that's kind of their main goal, is to work on this personal development for you to exit the university having all these skills and confident in all these skills. Anything from, like I said, using these specialist instruments to just normal transferable skills like presentation, presenting skills, communication, teamwork, just working in, together as a group in general. So
Nice.
I think that's my biggest highlight is my own personal development. Not to sound,
No, it's fantastic.
selfish, but it's just,
Wow. So kind of off the back of that, so when you were considering going into your first year or considering making an application,
Yeah.
do you think you would have believed your future self if you'd kind of told her what you had been through in those 3 years?
Absolutely not. I was genuinely one of the most shy person you'll ever meet in your entire life. If I went back and told my younger self before I was about to apply that this is going to be the best decision you'll ever make, I wouldn't believe. I'd be like, how are you even talking to me? How are you confident enough talking to me? Honestly, this whole university experience, just as a whole, it's been so amazing for my own personal development, but also being able to have all these different skills that I feel like weren't that highlighted before I came to university. But no, definitely, I would surprise myself.
Yeah?
Very, very much.
Wow, okay. And what kind of careers can graduates typically go on to do? And if you don't mind me asking, what are you considering going on to after your postgraduate course?
So there's, like I said, because there's so many different topics that you can go for when you're going into this course, there's so many optional modules that you could go into, and then when you get to do your own independent research, you kind of get to learn something about yourself that you didn't even realize you had, what you're really interested in, and that will then lead you to the career.
Yes.
Forensics is quite broad when it comes to different things that you can choose from, which I personally liked. It made me kind of consider so many different options for me to then decide on what I enjoy the most. And currently, it's anything to do with toxicology, basically, or I guess drug analysis.
What is toxicology again? Just out of curiosity there.
Sorry?
What was toxicology again? I know the word.
Toxicology is the study of like drugs and poisons,
Okay.
anything that can harm your body through substances.
Goodness.
Yes. Okay. I think my interest lies on the analysis part of it.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, there's so many different career paths that you can take. It just depends on your own personal interests, and you'll discover it. I promise. Like I said, they allow you to explore so much of the course.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of it, you will have what you're most interested in. My friend, a very close friend of mine, she originally started with chemistry, and now she's set on being a fingerprint expert. We have an academic who is a fingerprinting expert, and that's what she's set on. All her interest is now focused on that, and I think that's also one of the biggest advantages of this course is they're able to kind of lead you to the right direction of what you want to go to.
Because there are that many avenues.
Absolutely, and then you get to kind of have a taster of all of them for you to then decide that, yeah, this is what I want.
My goodness.
Mhm.
Okay. Donia, thank you so much for being here. That's
you.
fantastic, and best of luck with your postgraduate.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with more from our Open Day live stream.
Hi, welcome back. We're in one of our therapy rooms here at the University of Derby, and I'm joined by Mel Lindley, who's Head of School for Allied Health and Social Care. Hi Mel, thanks very much for joining us today.
Hi Kelly, nice to meet you.
So talk to us a little bit about our new physiotherapy programme here at the University of Derby. What does it actually involve?
Well, ultimately, the physiotherapy programme is designed to ensure that our graduates are able to register as a physiotherapist. So we'll be covering all the skills and knowledge and attributes and behaviours of a physiotherapist, looking across body systems such as musculoskeletal, neurological and cardiorespiratory, but also looking at different ways and environments that graduate physios could work. So thinking in terms of primary care, community care, hospitals, but also the private and voluntary sector as well.
And you touched upon it there when you talked about the skills and experiences. What will our students actually learn when they come to the University of Derby?
So we'll start with the basic skills around body systems, movement analysis, function, and really think of applying that in a rehabilitation space. So we will look across physical limitations, rehabilitation, inclusion back in society, because ultimately as a physiotherapist, our main goal is to look at people's mobility and function.
Great. And so we're in one of our therapy rooms here at the University of Derby. What other facilities will our students have the opportunity to learn in?
So in addition to therapy rooms such as this, we have a great array of clinical skills rooms. So that ranges from sort of hospital wards, home environments. We've got virtual and immersive suites as well as the lecture theatres and seminar rooms.
So really bringing that teaching and learning to life in sort of real world facilities for our students.
Absolutely, and there'll be a range of placement opportunities as well for our students so that they can apply all the learning that we do in university to a range of clinical settings. One of the things we're really proud about as well, though, is our focus on digital and innovation. So again, we're looking to equip our graduates with skills to develop services for the future.
Excellent. So those real game changers of the future. And why should students who are considering studying physiotherapy choose to come to the University of Derby?
Well, I'm really biased. I love Derby. I think it's such a great place to study and learn. There's such great wraparound services in relation to the student hub and wellbeing and library support, but also our physiotherapy staff here and our teaching staff are cutting edge, and the programme has been really designed so that we can enable our graduates to be clinicians, researchers, leaders, educators of the future.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Mel. It sounds like a really exciting programme. Back to you in the studio.
I'm pleased to be joined now by Kamil Pukala, a third-year business management student here at Derby. Welcome, Kamil.
Thank you.
So you've joined us from Slovakia. How did you first find out about Derby and what inspired you to come here?
So when I was in my final year in college, there was this agency that promoted all the universities in England. And I found it really interesting what all the universities had to offer. So I digged into it a little deeper and then found out that that's what I potentially want to do in my future as well, because it's been my dream to travel abroad since forever. And so then I contacted the agency, and they told me a bit more about the university and what they have. And then because I wanted to see like the overall overview of what sort of area I'm interested in, because I had no idea back then, I decided to do business management because it provides you with the whole overview, like I said, and then based on that knowledge, I could decide what I want to do later in the future. So I talked to the agency, they helped me apply for the university, and the whole process was a lot easier knowing that there's someone. And then once I got in contact with the university, it was a very smooth process to get to the city and settle down, essentially.
And how's your experience been as an international student coming to a different country and obviously university for the first time?
It's been very different for me, and I had to get used to know a lot of things, how they work differently in here. But that's fine in terms of the weather as well. That was a bit of a cultural shock, I can say. But yeah, I guess the first thing was the accent. So in my college, as an international student, we tend to learn the American English. So that was a bit of a shock. But once I started to talk to people and had that face-to-face interaction, I believe that was the main factor that helped me to understand and then have an actual active conversation with someone. And that was essentially what I was trying to do, to learn a new language and then be able to speak a new language as well, and then potentially start a new life as well abroad.
And what was it about the subject that attracted you? Why that degree here?
So based on the recommendations of the agency, because I wanted to do business management, they did really recommend that this degree is really, really great at the University of Derby. So I had a little bit of a look into it, and then I found out that it has a bit of it adds the value to the degree, different sorts of the accreditations, or like leadership schemes as well, which back at the time, it didn't really mean a lot to me, but now I am happy that I did choose to go for this degree, because it adds a value, especially maybe on my CV when I'm applying for like the graduate jobs or like the jobs in general for the future.
And you've recently completed a one-year placement. What did that involve and where did you go?
So I worked in Winchester. I worked in a hospitality area, which is sort of related to a business degree as well, because I got to rotate in different departments in there. So I based on the daily interactions with different guests. It was a 5-star hotel, which means that people coming from all over the place were different. So it was very interesting to face new challenges and to use my problem-solving skills, the actual thing that university is talking about in a real life. Yeah. So all these transferable skills started to develop within me without me even realizing. So then, as part of my assignments, I started to keep track of my development by writing like the reflective pieces, to my tutors. And then we were working on the stuff that I could improve, or more like what I could do better. And so that helped me realize that there's still space for potential growth.
And on top of the year out, you've also done an internship, a very exciting one in Florida at Disney.
Yes,
so how did that come about?
That was so exciting opportunity. I felt like I had to grasp it and go for it. So it was literally after I finished my placement, and I was like, what am I going to do during this summer, And then this opportunity came up on the student agency portal, and so I applied, and university helped me with the whole process once again. They confirmed my student status and then helped me, because it was another agency that I worked with, to get to Disney. It was a 10-week internship, and I've never been to Disney, so I presume there was a great opportunity to get to know a new environment, new culture once again, and that was mostly because of my degree and the university, because I would never know about this chance or like the option to work in there without the actual portal that's offering the jobs in there. So I'm very glad I am receiving those emails from them.
Brilliant. Now, somehow around all this, you've also managed to find time to do some sports. Tell me about what you've been involved in
Indeed.
Since you've been here.
Yes. So in my second year, I joined the volleyball team, and so we keep having trainings twice a week, and then a match every Wednesday, it tends to be. It's very easy to work with balance it out with the university and then obviously trainings, because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm always trying to make sure there's no overlap in between my lectures or seminars and the trainings. And then when we play competitively on the matches, it brings me even more passion to it, So I'm really into it. And then I feel like there wasn't a moment where I felt like I couldn't make it, because I knew I was aware of what I need to do for the university, and if I had some deadlines that I needed to meet. So I did the work ahead, knowing that I will have this match or that training on that day. So it is very easy to balance it out, and I'm happy I managed my time well.
So after graduation, what does the future hold for you? Are you straight into work? Is it more travel?
That is a good question. It might be both. So at the moment, I'm thinking of applying for the graduate job, and that gives me the opportunity to, once again, like on the placement, rotate on different departments and get more of a practical sort of insight into the sector that I'm interested in. But if that, that is one of the options. If that won't work out, there is still traveling, because I do travel a lot, indeed. I feel like I could do a lot more exploring around the country in here, because Derby is beautiful, indeed. But based on my traveling history, I would say that there's still a lot of places to see. So I might actually combine them both and get a graduate job somewhere else, or it might be as well in Derby and then get like a traveling scheme from that work, because there's so many opportunities nowadays everywhere, and it's all possible, I realized over these past few years in Derby.
Fantastic. And is there any advice that you would give to somebody considering studying at Derby, or is there anything you think they should know?
Yeah, well, Derby is a very lovely place. There's a lot of nice people to meet. The university itself provides a lot of opportunities, like I mentioned before, and that is the number one to go for, because you have to grasp all of them and then just make the best experience of your university life. And that is my top-notch recommendation for everyone. It's the societies, it's the clubs, it's the opportunities, it's the tutors, it's the people. So that's what I'm here for, and they're here for me.
Brilliant, and I wish you all the very best with your final year and whatever you choose to go on to do in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back with more from the University of Derby Open Day live stream. Today, I'm finding out about the different types of support we provide to our students to help them succeed during their time at university, both personally and academically. So hi Sarah, you're Head of Student Services at the University of Derby. What does that involve?
Hi Alice. So Student Services at the University of Derby has several teams which are dedicated to supporting our students through the entire student journey. So in our teams we've got the counselling team, we've got mental health support, we've got disability, and we've got a team dedicated to providing advice and guidance around money. We're also really fortunate here at Derby that we've got an on-site GP, part medical practice, and we've also got a dedicated multi-faith centre which offers a range of pastoral and spiritual support.
And how do students get started with accessing all this support?
So there's multiple ways that students can access support at Derby. You can phone us, you can email us, or you can access a range of support and advice and guidance via our web pages. We've got a range of self-help supports on the web pages, including the fantastic Talk Campus app, which delivers peer-on-peer support for our students. The support that we put in place will be bespoke, tailored to the student needs, and it can flex and bend according to their needs throughout the journey of their studies.
Sending your son or daughter off to university can be a really exciting but potentially overwhelming time. What advice do you have to offer them?
Absolutely, Alice, and we recognise that. The key advice that we would provide is to encourage their son, daughter or the learner to get in touch with Student Services as soon as possible. That can even be before they come to campus and start their studies.
And how does the support that the university offers its students differ from that they might have received at school?
The key difference is that it's student-led. The university won't implement the support automatically. We wait for the learner to come to us when they feel ready to receive that support or when they disclose.
So what happens where students might need a different type of support? Perhaps it's academic help that they need.
So the support that we provide at university involves a range of other internal and external departments and organisations. One of the key teams that we work with is the College Student Centres, who will provide a range of academic support and advice and guidance.
Hi Nat, I've just been finding out about the support provided by our Student Services team. How does that differ from what you do in the College Student Centres?
So the College Student Centres are a dedicated place for information, advice, guidance and support around any academic or student queries that you may have. We've got a dedicated team of personal college advisors who will be there to answer any query that you've got, or alternatively signpost you to one of our specialist services such as Student Wellbeing or the wider Student Services team. Ultimately, the College Student Centre is that first point of contact. And what I would say to you is if you don't know who to speak to or where to go, come to your College Student Centre and they'll be able to point you in the right direction or answer that query for you.
And what sorts of things can you offer that advice on?
First of all, we'll start off with enrolment, so help you through your registration and get you enrolled on your course. We can answer those queries that you may have about your student loan and also help you get your uni card that gets you into the university. We can also help you with your academic programme advice as well, so whether that's queries around the regulations or your overall degree classification. We can support you with student support letters, so that means if you need to open a bank account or alternatively prove your council tax status as well. We can help you if you're struggling with assignments and support you with a request for additional consideration if you're not able to meet your deadlines. And also we can support you with your attendance and engagement as well.
How do you help our students to stay on track with their studies?
So the way in which we support our students to stay on track with their studies is through our student engagement monitoring. So what we do is we monitor student attendance to ensure that they can get the best possible academic outcomes. We know that good attendance means that you're less likely to withdraw or fail on your course and get that best degree outcome.
So where students might be struggling with their studies, how can you help with that?
So there's lots of people that they can talk to at the university. First of all, they've got the support from their academic team. So you've got your module leader, and the module leader can talk to them about the module content and also their deadlines. You've then got your programme leader who can talk about the wider course content and any support that they need in relation to that. They've got their personal academic tutor who can help them with academic advancement and give them some coaching to get the best possible degree outcomes. And then finally, as you've mentioned with Sarah, we've got Student Services and our wellbeing team who can help with support plans and any mental health inquiries.
Thanks, Nat. So lots of support available for our students to make sure they can succeed. Coming to university is exciting, but it can also feel overwhelming at times. To help, we offer a range of services to support you both during your application and when you start studying with us. Whether you have questions about your course, concerns about your wellbeing, or just need some advice or reassurance, our friendly expert teams are here to help.
If you've got your eye on creative writing and publishing at Derby, we've got the guest for you. It's hello to Jocelyn Hargrave, lecturer in publishing. Welcome, Jocelyn.
Welcome.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you so much.
Good. No, thank you for being here. So, Jocelyn, it's a fantastic result for us in the Complete University Guide for Creative Writing subject area at Derby. We ranked 4th in the UK for student satisfaction, which is just amazing. So what do you think it is about our course that really appeals to students?
I would have to say so many things. It's so diverse, so creative, but still so embedded in industry and the types of skills that students need to be able to be confident knowledge workers. That is key to the success of University of Derby's Creative Writing and Publishing course. Myself included, and as well as the other creative writing and publishing colleagues, we're just feel so privileged to be part of the university. We're passionate. We have loads of industry experience. We're published authors. So there's the theoretical, but also the practical underpinning that really makes this course stand out. Yep.
And what key skills do students develop here that are specific to this degree?
The degree is amazing in that it combines both creative writing and publishing. So for those students who are interested in authorial work, they learn the conceptual and practical skills to be able to both develop their ideas, to articulate their ideas on paper, and then to understand the publishing process involved in getting their work published. In terms of those who are interested in, and then of course, within the publishing context, the aspiring authors understand how all of this authorial work happens in the publishing context. For those who are interested in publishing, there is again a whole industry type perspective when it comes to our tuition. They start from the commissioning of work by publishers, and it goes through the production process in terms of how do publishers commission work? How then do editors work with copy and work with authors to allow authors' brilliance to shine and have their message shine through? It's how the work is copy edited on the page, not just punctuation and grammar and spelling, but also how text and image work together. We're thinking about, well, then how does that text get designed and typeset? How does that text then get marketed and sold and distributed? So again, at this whole perspective that we're teaching our students to learn, to understand, but also be inspired by.
Nice, fantastic. And so you kind of touched on it briefly, but the workings of publishing houses is a bit of a factor here. So what links do we have in place that students will kind of get to interact with?
We are very privileged because of our industry experience. We have connections with industry, so our students benefit from numerous guest speakers who contribute their expertise and their insight in class. We have very practice-based activities that link closely with industry in terms of interviewing stakeholders, interviewing authors, and doing collaborative work with people in industry, or else with other students at the University of Derby who aspire to work in industry as well.
Excellent. And would you say we have ways for students to gain real-world experience?
Absolutely. Everything that we do in the classroom is practice-based. Certainly it has the theoretical underpinning about why do we do this work, not just how and when. But everything, as I said, is practice-based in terms of if you're interested in marketing, then you will learn how to actually develop a marketing plan and then put that into practice. If you're interested in design, then we have our classes are in the media labs, where they work with InDesign programs to not only thinking about the designing content, but also typesetting it. Yeah.
Lovely. So obviously there's going to be quite a few people that are thinking about this. So what would you say to those thinking about studying creative writing and publishing at the University of Derby?
Come to Derby.
Yeah?
You'll love it. Everyone is inspired. The students absorb everything. When they enter a classroom, they have smiles on their faces. And when they leave that classroom, most of the smiles are still in place.
Lovely. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, those are all the questions I have for you. So thank you so much for your time. That was fantastic.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Let's head into a video and we'll be back with you soon.
Welcome back. We've been watching out for your questions this morning, but we've just got time to run through a few of those now, and then we'll reply to everybody else later on today. First one, what support is in place for students to meet new people and make friends? Well, the good news is that everybody's in the same boat when you first start. Eventually, you'll find your tribe, whether that's through your flatmates, your course mates, or societies. Second question, do you accept late applications? Well, as long as your course is still open, which you can check on our website, we will accept applications as late as we can. For most people, this will be as simple as submitting your application through UCAS, even if it's after the UCAS deadline. Next one, what are the food options like on campus? Pretty good. We've got a wide range of hot and cold food and a number of outlets, including some great coffee shops run by our Union of Students, and some well-known names like Starbucks and Subway. Transport. Is there any university transport available from the city centre to all sites? Yes, we do. We have a unibus service, and that runs between all of our halls, our sites in the city, and our bus and train stations as well. How can international students claim the early bird discount? Okay, so to benefit from that, you would need to pay your fees for the year in full and upfront, and that would make your total to pay £500 less. And final question, why the turtle? The turtle symbolises our research ethos, which is to build a stronger, safer and more sustainable future for everyone. Although we're active in many areas of research, we're best known for our work in aquatics and zero carbon. And that's it. Thank you very much. A huge thank you to all the students and staff who've been part of our event today, and to you all for joining us for our Open Day live stream. Today's Open Day is continuing for several more hours on campus, so if you're on your way, we'll see you soon. And if you've liked what you've seen and you want to come and visit, you can book your place now for our next event, which is on Saturday, 23rd of March. And you can book your place on our website. But if you're joining us from overseas or you can't make it in person, our virtual tour is available whenever you need it, with more to see about our courses, our city and our accommodation on our website.
Hi, I love working at Derby because I like being part of the College Student Centre teams. It's great to be able to support our students all the way through from enrolment to graduation. We get a lot of students in the College Student Centres that may be struggling, and it's fantastic when we've been able to help and support them to achieve their degree and see them walk across the stage during graduation.
As someone who works with international students from all around the world, I love the University of Derby because it presents an opportunity for students from over 50 countries to come and study with us. It's such a melting pot of different nationalities.
What I love about the University of Derby is our relationship with our partner organisations, allowing excellent placement opportunities. It means our students can be the innovators and future leaders in our communities.
I love coming to work at the University of Derby to be part of a team of staff that are dedicated, committed to make sure our students can flourish and grow while they learn here. It's great to support our students be their best selves and be part of their onward learning journey.
I love how the university prioritises its students and tailors the resources towards our needs. I love how my lecturers and tutors are so supportive and help me achieve my potential as a student.
I love the University of Derby because it gives so many opportunities for everybody to develop their skills. Working in the library skills team, I get to see that every day and it's brilliant.
What I love about the University of Derby is the community feel. I work at the Halls of Residence and it's such a great place for the students to come and stay and meet other people. And I think it really represents the university as a whole, which is a real lovely family environment.
What I love about working at the University of Derby is I get to engage with students from enrolment straight through, see their progression to the end of their studies, and then it all ends with graduation and how we can celebrate with them on their special day.
Some of the main reasons why I love working at the University of Derby, as it's a fantastic place to work. It gives amazing opportunities for students and staff.
I love Derby because we offer amazing opportunities to students, from work experience to part-time jobs to graduate careers.
I love the University of Derby due to the positive impact it has on the student experience and their academic journeys. Here at the Union of Students, we have the pleasure of working with the university to deliver a variety of different activities, whether that be supporting the student voice, delivering events and activities such as freshers, or providing clubs and societies for those students looking to socialise. It's a pleasure to work with the university on all the things we do.
I love working at the University of Derby Library because I remember what it was like to be a student. I remember the array of emotions from pure joy to pure panic. And I remember the consistency of the library being there for me. So I really love the fact that I now get to do that for students.
There are many different reasons as to why I love the University of Derby. But the main one for me is the different opportunities that you can seize. So being an alumni of the university and an ex-student, I got involved with becoming a student ambassador, a content creator, and an academic representative. I now look forward to making a positive impact in the graduate scheme as an associate in marketing.
What I love about the University of Derby is the support for diversity and communal living. As an international student, I believe one of our dreams when migrating to a new country is to settle in smoothly and seamlessly and get comfortable as fast as we can. The University of Derby is a great place to be because it supports diversity and communal living, which in the long run not only helps with personal development, but also professional growth, as this is what I am experiencing.
The thing I love most about the University of Derby is teaching. When teaching, I can be myself, and by creating a fun and exciting environment for students, I allow them to become the best versions of themselves.
What I love about Derby is that the university has a really strong commitment to ensuring that our students are ready for the workplace and to make sure that when they leave university, they're ready to go straight into graduate level employment.
What I love about Derby is that it's a community that's big enough to contain a rich diversity of people from a whole range of traditions and backgrounds and perspectives, enabling all sorts of stimulating ideas and initiatives to emerge. But it's a community that's small enough so that you feel you can find a place within it and a real sense of belonging. That's what I love about Derby.
I love Derby. As a staff member and as a student, I had the opportunity to explore my passion, and that's why Derby's brilliant.